Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. Well, it seems today that we have the great government, our great overseers, both Democrats and Republicans, looking to ban TikTok, which, again, I am not entirely against. However, my only problem is that the Democrats and the Republicans, they work hand in hand. They're buddies together, right? So that's just kind of how we're going to perceive them, is that there's more of an underlying cause. Now, see, they put the ban in TikTok under the ruse of other things here, like, putting money into the Ukraine bill, and TikTok was just sneakily put in there. So, that being said, you're not being fair and true to the American people. I'm going to put this here in this aspect, right? I think it should be highly illegal to have a bill say it's going to do this and then have it do something opposite of what it was actually going to do. Or if the bill, or having something else that is highly polarized that should not be in the bill. Because banning TikTok is a completely separate issue, just sending up over around $1 billion to Ukraine, to Israel, to Taiwan, etc. That's kind of what was going on here. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. We're going to have Senate passes bill designed to ban TikTok unless app is bought by U.S. company. On Tuesday night, a Senate approved a bill aimed at either prohibiting TikTok or compelling its sale, marking a significant rejection of the video sharing platform's Chinese ownership. This move comes after numerous unsuccessful efforts to address the purported national security concerns associated with the app over the years. I do agree that China is a huge problem, right? I agree that China is a huge problem. They need to be dealt with at some point or another. There are people in history, if you're Srebrenica or whatever, they're already trying to guarantee to attack America, at least from his point of view is. However, I don't know whether they're gearing up for attacking America. However, I do know the CCP does not like Americans. So, that much is certain. And again, I don't want apps to be in the hands of children until much, much later on into life, because I think the apps has ruined the children's minds. Instagram has destroyed the female mind almost entirely, and we need to put a stop to this and somehow make a certain age, at least maybe 17, possibly 18, to where they cannot be allowed to use this until that, because it's not doing good for the mental. Perhaps getting these kids off of these apps, off of these things, will be better. And that's just the way I see it. I hardly ever use apps. I didn't use Facebook very much. I never used Twitter. And I didn't use any of these other Instagrams or stuff or what have you. Because I think they have a detriment to the society's mental health here. And that's just the way I think about it. But again, there's a nefarious part with banning TikTok here. Because obviously, there's not too great of it. The Senate voted 79 to 18 in favor of the measure, which was included in a comprehensive package providing assistance to Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. This sends the proposal to President Biden for his signature following the House's approval on Saturday. President Biden has voiced support for the foreign aid package and indicated his intention to sign the TikTok bill, indicating that it is likely to become a law in the near future. Upon signature, the provision would grant TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, approximately 9 months to divest the immensely popular app, failing which could result in a nationwide prohibition. The president retains the authority to extend this deadline by an additional 90 days. TikTok plans to fight against the new rule in court. This could be a big and long fight where they'll argue that the law goes against free speech for many people. Despite TikTok trying too hard to stop the rule, like asking users to complain to their lawmakers and showing ads about how safe TikTok is, it hasn't changed lawmakers' minds. I don't think TikTok's safe at all. Mostly because I find when I go on TikTok, or there's TikTok trends that are absolutely horrific. There are TikTok trends that are kids, like, honestly killing themselves. I'm not going to be perfectly honest. I don't know how else to do it, saying offing or whatever. But, like, literally offing themselves, doing things that are nefarious that has negative effects on them. People have died using TikTok for TikTok trends that have been horrible. Or kids going and doing heinous crimes that end up killing other people in the process or themselves. it is not a good app. It has been horrendous so far. The TikTok trends have not been good. So that's the reason why I think that TikTok needs to be banned immediately, but they can't have these underlying things underwritten in the law of the ban. Because, again, as we've seen here, guys, when they did the ban, they were trying to do the ban to where, oh, well, if we ban this, by the way, we get to have access to, like, almost everything that you guys do. So, there you have it. And no, I don't want that. I want TikTok banned, but not where the government has the authority or the ability to look at everything that we do, spy on us through stuff, etc., on all this crap. I don't want that. It's a lot more nefarious than just the spying part. Like, they get to look at your bank account. They get to do this or that. Like, it is beyond the point of spying at this point. This is them really just seeing everything about you with the law that would be under the TikTok ban. And we don't want that. In the event that ByteDance divests its ownership in TikTok, Robo is ready to join a consortium with parties seeking to acquire and operate TikTok inside the United States. So that's what's going on. And then we have this here, of course. TikTok is a national security threat, says FBI director, as he issues chilling warning about how the Chinese government is using the Americans' data. Well, we already knew about this, so this is not really surprising here. But yes, this is the case that's going on, that where Chinese are using the American data. But we're going to go into more pressing things here. As I said, this is from CNN. CNN says Senate passes $95 billion package sending aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan after months of delay. The Senate on Tuesday passed a long-delayed $95 billion package with bipartisan support after both sides of Capitol Hill have struggled for months to send aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The final vote was 79-18. 15 Republicans voted with 3 Democrats against the bill. 48 Democrats and 31 Republicans voted for the bill. So, with that being said, we're going to go look and see who all voted for this bill. So, without further ado, here's what we're going to have. It said, this is from Michael Tracy. Here's why you can't necessarily take yes or no votes from politicians at face value in terms of the substantive positions on the legislation before them. If anyone thinks Marco Rubio and Rick Scott are opposed on a principle to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan funding, I have a bridge in the Everglades to sell you. Both are two of the most hardcore interventionists in this entire Senate. Both have long denounced Biden for not being aggressive enough in arming Ukraine, supporting Israel, and antagonizing China. And both admitted last night that their rationale for voting no was purely about extraneous political calculations, not the substance of the bill itself. Rubio is currently auditioning for Trump's VP, so despite affirming how passionately he believes that funding Ukraine and Israel are in the U.S. national security interests, he could have a rationale for voting no that has to do with a minutiae of legislative procedure, and because he had unrelated complaints about Biden's immigration policy. Otherwise, Rubio confirmed he remains staunchly in favor of a hyper-aggressive U.S. war policy across all theaters. Rick Scott voiced similar complaints as Rubio, but his main angle is that he's been trying to depose and replace Mitch McConnell as Senate Republican leader. So many legislation he can portray as having been procedurally tainted by McConnell and the current crop of GOP leadership. McConnell, Thune, Cornyn, he votes against in hopes of burnishing his credentials to consolidate the anti-McConnell wing of the GOP caucus. Then there's Tim Scott, also auditioning for Trump's VP, which I don't think Trump is going to choose either of these people for VP, to be honest with you. But I digress. Who just opted not to vote at all for some reason. And on the most consequential legislation to come before the body in years, cowardly, but Scott seems to have calculated this would be the most prudent tactic to advance his career prospects rather than articulate a public position and engender criticism in one direction or another. Just don't even bother showing up to vote. It's a ruse. Scott ran in the GOP presidential primaries last year as possibly the most rabid interventionist of any candidate, rivaling and perhaps even exceeding Nikki Haley in his lustful pro-war zeal. Since the outcome of the vote last night was predetermined, as most Senate votes are, all 3 senators knew that their voting no would not actually impede the passage of the legislation, the substance of which they fully supported is just another political shell game. Don't fall for their just scheming. Now, what we have here is that all the Republicans that were going to go with this is like, that did this, and there's a lot here. A lot of Republicans voted for this. A lot of them. And if you guys think that some of these Republicans are these great and gung-ho people, again, as he says, I have a bridge to sell you. These Republicans are terrible. They want war. They want everything to do with war because they get money from war. Now, this is not all Republicans. No. You don't get away with this, Democrats. You don't get away because you were also the ones wanting war yourselves. You signed the bill. You've been advocating for war. You've been protecting, you've been giving money to Ukraine and all this other stuff. So you guys are not off the hook either. No, you guys also want war. Both sides, Republican and Democrat, are atrocious and horrible, and they need to be dealt with. Because obviously, they're trying to get our family, our friends, into war and them killed for just money to line themselves with their pockets. That's just the reality. And we have one more from Michael Tracy saying, furthermore, it's bizarre that Rand Paul and Tommy Tuberville apparently could not be bothered to vote last night. Unless there was some sudden medical emergency that physically prevented them from showing up to the chamber, it's inexcusable. So, yeah, we also have to take that into perspective as well. Is Rand Paul that not voting on it? Again, I don't think they would actually change anything, to be honest, even if they did vote. But it is weird that they didn't vote. And that brings us a lot of questions here. We need a completely new system here. Because obviously these people just want money. And that's been shown pretty obvious. And the fact that they're going to also ban TikTok on the process of this, which also would mean everything else everything else to be exposed because we've gone over this before. It does seem that it's not good. Again, the government / the Democrats and Republicans are against you, and I think it's time you guys start waking up and start facing the reality. We have a lot of work to go through. We have the right people we can vote for, but we have to vote correctly, and we got to get these rhinos, neocons out of our government. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends. Oh yes, and Lindsey Graham is also part of this too, just to let you know. So, don't think he's great either.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.